Hello viewers, welcome to my channel IITJ Olympiads and AP Physics with Ambarish. And today I have brought an interesting challenge. This was asked in one of the tests, and actually this is a question from Shashi Bhushan Tiwari also. And I found that many sharp students also faced a lot of difficulty in solving this problem, and that's why I have chosen this problem. So let me state the problem for you, and if you want then you can try it out. So here's the problem. Okay, so the circuit shown in the figure is used to transfer energy from one capacitor to another. So here is one capacitor and it is charged to some potential difference that's given V0, later on we'll see. And then we'll close the switch S1 and then LC oscillations will start in this circuit. And at some point later what we are doing is we are closing the switch and opening the switch, and then that's how some energy is going to flow into this capacitor. So let's read out the complete statement. What's happening? Initially the capacitor capacitance C1 equal to C0 is charged to a potential difference of V0. This one is charged to V0. Switch S1 is closed at time t equal to 0. So this was closed at t equal to 0. And after some time S1 is opened and S2 is closed simultaneously. So we are opening this and we are closing this. Actually it should be the other way around. First we should close the switch and then we should open the switch. Otherwise inductor current will have no option except becoming 0 all of a sudden, which is doesn't happen normally. So that's not the intention here. We are closing the S2 and then we are opening S1. Okay. So after some time you read it, S2 is closed and then S1 is opened simultaneously almost. Okay. And at time t is equal to capital T, remember we started our clock at t equal to 0. So at time t equal to capital T, S2 was opened and it was found that potential difference across the capacitor capacitance C2 was C2 equal to C0 by 9 was 3V0. So this capacitor has got a capacitance of C0 by 9. And at time capital T, from the beginning the potential difference across this was found to be 3V0. So we opened the switch to retain this much potential on this. So this was found to be 3V0. Find the smallest possible value of time capital T. So we have to find the smallest possible value of time capital T. The coil has inductance capital L. So this has inductance capital L, and assume no resistance. So I hope the language of question is amply clear, and if you want you can try this out and I'll get into my analysis right away. So let's see how to proceed with this question. Okay, so first of all, the phenomena, this is charged to V0 and you see this LC oscillation is comparable to spring mass system oscillations, right? So whenever we have a spring mass system, and you know that mass is analogous to inductance. Okay, why? Because kinetic energy is half mv square and the energy stored in inductance is half Li square. So you can see by comparison, if you compare magnetic energy to kinetic energy, I is the rate of flow of charge and this is rate of change of displacement. So charge is analogous to displacement, current is analogous to velocity, and L is analogous to mass. Okay, so so just like spring mass system oscillations are happening over here, and this is having some potential difference V0 and then that will be reducing. Okay, and initially the current here is 0. If the current here is 0, then if you compare it with SHM, then that is equivalent to saying that velocity is 0. That means we are talking about the extreme position, and the charge is comparable to what? X, right? Because the stored energy is half kx square and here the stored energy is x square by 2c, right? Or rather q square by 2c. So the spring constant is comparable to 1 by c and the charge is comparable to x, and exactly by that analogy we can say that this is just like oscillations of the spring mass system. Okay, and what kind of position are we starting with? So this has got potential difference V0 and initial current is 0. So we have started with an extreme position, right? And gradually this capacitor is discharging initially, so potential difference across this will be decreasing. So we can say that when you start from extreme position, the potential difference varies as V0 cos omega t, right? So the potential difference across this will decrease according to the equation V0 cos omega t. Let us say you keep the switch S1 closed till time t1. So what will happen by that time? The potential difference across this will be V0 cos of omega t1. Now what we are going to do is, once we know the potential difference across this, we'll try to find out the current through the inductor, and when you close this switch the inductor current will remain same. If you open the switch, because you know that inductor acts like a current inertia. The current in the inductor cannot change suddenly. If you close the switch, inductor will try to push the same current through this. And then the second circuit, if you see, this capacitor was initially uncharged and this inductor had some current. So that is equivalent to starting from the mean position, right? Why? Because potential energy is 0, right? So energy stored in capacitor is equivalent to half kx square. So potential energy is 0, that means what? It's mean position. So started from mean position and then this is getting charged and the inductor current will be decaying after that. So let's look into the details, mathematics of it. So I try to explain in short, so let's get into the detailed maths of it. Okay, so voltage across the capacitor C1 varies as V is equal to V naught cos omega t. As I told you that this is the extreme position because the inductor current is initially 0. So t equal to 0 is the extreme position of the simple harmonic motion kind of, okay, and where omega is 1 by root LC. This is standard knowledge. Okay, now suppose the switching occurs at some time, let us say t1. Then at that instant of time, V is equal to V naught cos omega t1. As I explained you, this is discharging, and at time t1 the potential difference across this will be V naught cos omega t1, and the current through this will be what? So if the potential difference is, now this is your L di by dt, right? This potential difference across the capacitor is same as the potential difference across the inductor, so which is also L di by dt. So that means what? I must, if this is in cosine, then I must be in the sines, right? Because integration of this L di by dt, if you equate with it, then I will have to be come by integration of this, right? So I will be some function like I naught sine of omega t1, right? And what will be the value of I naught? So that we can see by comparison. See, V is L di by dt. So if you take di by dt, you will get I naught omega L factor, right? I naught omega L factor, that will be the peak voltage across the inductor, which should also be equal to the peak voltage across the capacitor. So I can say that I naught omega L should be equal to V naught, or we can say I naught is V naught by omega L. Okay, and therefore this is not this is I naught is V naught by omega L, and this is then not I, this is not I naught, this is I1 we can say. So this is I1 is V naught by omega L. Let me use the same color pen. So this is your I1. I am calling the current at t equal to t1 as I1, and I naught is, I can write here, I naught then becomes just a sec. So I naught becomes V naught by omega L. Okay, okay, and that I substituted here, so it becomes V naught by omega L sine of omega t1. So that is the current in the inductor at the time of switching the circuit. Okay, now after the switching happens, the circuit begins to oscillate with a different frequency. Why? Because this capacitance is different and this capacitance is different. Let us say after the switching, the angular frequency becomes capital omega and the inductor is at the mean configuration. Why? Because see, capacitor is uncharged, that means what? Potential energy equivalent is 0, so we are talking about the mean position. Current is there in the inductor but the capacitor is uncharged, so this is like the mean position, right? In mean position potential energy is 0, so it is the same thing. Inductor and the capacitor energy is 0 and inductor energy is maximum. Okay, and then this inductor will be losing current through this. Okay, current will be flowing through this and inductor current will be decaying initially. Okay, so after switching happens, the circuit begins to oscillate with a different frequency, say capital omega, and the inductor is at the mean configuration. I explained to you why it is at the mean configuration, because capacitor charge is 0, current is maximum and the charge on C2 is 0. So this charge is 0 and this current will be maximum for the subsequent LC oscillations, right? So current in the second circuit will be given as a function of time as what? So if we were to start clock at this point of time, then this current function would have been I naught sine of omega t. But our clock was started earlier. How much time earlier? It was started at t1 time earlier. So accordingly, if I go by the original clock, instead of this t, we should write t minus t1, right? Because we are measuring time according to the original clock. So if in this clock t seconds have passed, then according to the earlier clock, t minus t1. Okay, and so we are not changing our clock. So our function becomes what? See, current in the second circuit as a function of time now is given as I is equal to I1 cos of capital omega t minus t1, because if we had started clock fresh here, then it should have been I1 cos of capital omega t. Why cos function? Because we know that current at the initial moment is maximum because it is the mean position. So this is how the current will vary in the circuit as a function of time, where time is measured from the original clock, okay, in the left circuit, this circuit. That's how the current is varying, right? Capital omega is the angular frequency for the left circuit, okay. So now I just substitute the value of I1 as I calculated here. See, this was I1 from equation 5. I just put I1 over here. So that is I0 sine omega t1 and cos of capital omega t minus t1. And I0 I can put, see, I found out I0 is V0 by omega L. So that means what? This current becomes simply I0, yes, I0 is V0 by omega L sine omega t1 is here. See, sine omega t1, that sine omega t1 comes as it is, and cos of omega capital omega t minus t1, this factor comes as it is over here. So this is how the current in the second circuit will vary. So now what will be the potential difference across C2? Again, see, whatever is the potential drop across C2, same should be the potential drop across inductor, and the inductor potential drop is nothing but L di by dt. So I can say that, okay, so now potential difference across the C2 capacitor is potential difference across the inductor L di by dt. And so V becomes what? See, you differentiate this equation with respect to time to get di by dt and multiply that by L. So if you differentiate it with respect to time, this factor is anyway constant because there is no t here, and here if you see, you will get a capital omega outside, and then you will get, this will become sine, right, rather minus sign, cos in the derivative will be minus sign. So you will get potential difference as this L di by dt I have done, and if you multiply this by L, so this L will cancel this L, so there just V0 cap by omega, and this capital omega is coming by differentiation of this, because by chain rule if you differentiate, this capital omega will come outside. So this is your potential difference across the inductor as a function of time. This is V0 capital omega by small omega sine omega t1 and minus sine capital omega t minus t1, okay. And what is given in the question, we want this potential difference to be equal to 3V0. So actually polarity is not given, so we can just take the mod of this and equate this to 3V0, right? So, and what about capital omega? So capital omega is 1 by root L C2, and C2 is C0 by 9. So capital omega is 3 by root L C0 and small omega is 1 by root L C0. Why? Because this capacitance is C0 and this capacitance is C0 by 9. So that's what we get for capital omega and small omega. So capital omega by small omega factor is there. You see, if you divide the two, capital omega by small omega, that will come out to be 3. So this becomes what? So magnitude of this becomes what? This becomes then 3V0, because capital omega by small omega is 3. So 3V0 sine omega t1 comes as it is, and I have just dropped the negative sign because I am just interested in the magnitudes. So into sine of capital omega t minus t1, okay, and this is equal to 3V0. Now this is an interesting step. See, until you get to this step, you are still in a doubt that what will we do, how to proceed with this question. So this is a question wherein you start doing the question, and then later on you get to know how exactly we can proceed further. So it's like they say in Hindi, dar ke aage jeet hai. So you just start doing the question, and then you will, the things will start appearing automatically, and you will be able to see what's the next step to be done. See, this is an interesting thing. If you see, there's something very interesting happening here. So left side is 3V0. We wanted this potential drop to be equal to 3V0. See, in the question it says the potential difference required is 3V0, okay, and this 3V0 should also be equal to the expression that we have calculated. So 3V0 is 3V0 sine of omega t1 into sine of capital omega t minus t1. Now this is 3V0, this is 3V0. That means what? The product of these two sine terms must be equal to 1, and you know that sine of anything cannot exceed 1. And if the product of two sine terms is 1, that means what? Both sine terms should be exactly 1. Then only this can happen. There's only one possibility, that this the product of these two terms is 1. That means what? This is also 1 and this is also 1, or maybe could be minus 1, but we want the least value of capital T. So that will happen if you choose the positive 1 values, okay. So that means what? So sine omega t1 is 1. So that means what can be the least value of t1? So omega t1 can be at least pi by 2, nothing less than pi by 2, if you want this factor to be 1. And this, if you want the least value of capital omega into t minus t1, that should also be equal to 1. That should also be equal to pi by 2. So you put t1 from here, that is pi by 2 omega, into this and solve for capital T. So what do you get? If you rearrange this equation and put the value of t1 from here, you will get capital T is equal to, see, pi by 2 capital omega, so pi by 2 capital omega, that goes here, and plus t1 is pi by 2 small omega. So that is your capital T, pi by 2 capital omega plus pi by 2 small omega. And capital omega and small omega we have already found over here, so you just substitute it there. And what do you get? See, this becomes pi by 2, you take common, and this is root LC naught, this one, 1 by omega is root LC naught, and this is root LC naught by 3. You add them up and you get the final answer. So simplify this and this is what you get. So 2 pi by 3 under root of LC naught. So this is our final answer. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this problem and you loved my solution. And if you did like my solution, please do give a thumbs up to my video, and please do share this video with as many people as possible in your academic groups, WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, or whatever academic media you use. Please try to share this with as many JEE aspirants who can benefit from my video. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. My channel is not monetized. It's the subscriptions and the views and the likes that I receive on my videos is what motivates me to keep going and making new videos. And please do keep coming back to my channel for more awesome stuff. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you all. Thank you.